visitors from outer space. They crash land without warning and can lie buried for thousands of years.
Oh my God!
Geoff Notkin and Steve Arnold live to unearth these space rocks.
You need some help with that, Geoff?
Their quest is part science and part treasure hunt. They are the Meteorite Men. On this adventure, Steve and Geoff hunt a dry lake bed somewhere in Nevada.
The secret site hidden out in the open.
They're led by a fellow hunter who already scored a $700,000 space rock.
One of the rarest in the world.
The hunt of a lifetime turns up a treasure trove.
Hey!
Like the guys have never seen.
Well, you have to be looking for this place.
We have a very good map that shows, well, I was going to say it shows everything, but there isn't really anything out here.
Steve Arnold and Geoff Notkin are on their way to hunt for meteorites at a most unusual location.
Isn't Area 51 somewhere
Yeah,
around
we're
here?
pretty close to Area 51.
Ooh.
Their destination is in a remote part of eastern Nevada, a 7-hour drive from Las Vegas. Where they're headed is not marked on any map. It's just a set of coordinates known only to a fellow meteorite hunter. The secret location is a dry lake bed that could be ripe with meteorites ready for picking.
The fragments that we're looking for are primarily on the surface, and the logic of hunting these lake beds is they're vast open areas, and any stone that we see in this expanse is worth checking out because it might have fallen out of the sky.
In 1 year, about 17 meteorites might hit an area the size of Nevada. Most are small. A couple could be the size of a fist. But every 2 or 3 years, a meteorite weighing more than 20 pounds crashes through the atmosphere. Steve and Geoff are hoping they can find one of these big space rocks out on the dry lake bed.
We're out here to find as many as we can and as big of ones as we can.
The guys know how to find big meteorites. They teamed up to hunt more than a decade ago. Geoff is a science writer with a passion for space rocks. Steve's an expert in tracking fireballs that have just hit Earth. Today, they're sharing information with another meteorite hunter and his trusty companion.
The meteorite fragments that hopefully are to be found on this lake bed are from a new meteorite. It's a new discovery. It was discovered by our friend Sonny Clary.
Sonny Clary hunts meteorites with his buddy, Bricks, a German shepherd who digs meteorites too.
Sonny Clary is one of my best friends. He's a phenomenal meteorite hunter. He's an EMT and a fireman in Las Vegas, which also gives him a lot of free time. And his unusual schedule gives him lots of time for meteorite hunting. And Sonny is a dry lake bed specialist.
This country is desolate, dry, and remote. It's no place to be going solo if you get into trouble. But Sonny is a low-tech hunter. He's scoured hundreds of miles on foot.
I've always spent my time outdoors, hiking, walking, backpacking. From there, it went crazy. Not too many people have what it takes to go out and spend 8 to 10 hours a day in the field and find nothing. The heat, 120-degree weather, or freezing weather. So I'm out there by myself, and this may go on for months.
Sonny's the first to find meteorites on this dry lake bed. To protect its scientific value, he's keeping the location top secret. But he's agreed to let Geoff and Steve in on his find.
A couple of years ago, Sonny made an amazing discovery on this lake bed, and he told us about this discovery and invited us to come up and work with him at the site, which is secret. Nobody apart from Sonny and ourselves even know about it, let alone where it is.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Tap, Bricks. Come on, buddy.
This is a secret site hidden out in the open. It would take us years to find a spot like this, and it's just amazing. It's hidden in plain sight.
A few thousand years ago, this part of what's now Nevada was deep underwater, a place called the Great Basin.
It must have been a spectacular place thousands of years ago.
The hunt starts at location number 1, on the edge of what was once a massive lake. It's now barren and as flat as a tabletop. Meteorites that fall here should stand out like a cue ball on a pool table.
The area in which we're hunting is just a small portion of the entire lake bed. When I say small, it's still 3 miles wide and 10 or 12 miles long or something like that. It's huge. It looked to me roughly the size of the island of Manhattan, which would be quite a big area to search.
The target rocks will be attracted to the magnets on their walking sticks.
These particular meteorites we're looking for are stone chondrites. They have a little bit of metal in them, and so they have a little bit of rust. We're looking for fragments. Unlike a freshly fallen meteorite that would be burnt and black, these have rusted and have weathered.
It's the once-in-a-lifetime experience to be walking across this beautiful surface. You could almost be on Mars. It's so barren out there. This used to be the bottom of a lake. 2,000, 3,000 years ago, we would have been way underwater. It's a really interesting sight. It's beautiful and scenic. What more could you want?
What they want are meteorites, like the spectacular find Sonny already has to his credit. Meteorites are rare, collectible meteorites are super rare, and then there's the meteorite that Sonny found.
It was like nothing ever found before. It was by pure luck. Just happened to be walking and found this black rock.
In 2004, Sonny found a carbonaceous chondrite, a meteorite rich in carbon instead of stone or iron.
The meteorite that Sonny found, this carbonaceous chondrite, is so exceptionally rare. It's not just from a collectible standpoint, oh, I have something that no one else has. It has answers in it. The term gets thrown around, the God rock. Was there one meteorite? Was there one body that started the dominoes going?
Was a meteorite, or were many meteorites, the progenitors of life on the planet? It's possible. It's an interesting theory.
That's actually one of the most fascinating questions, of course. How did life begin on the planet?
At Arizona State University, Dr. Meenakshi Wadhwa studies these visitors from space. The big question is, did carbonaceous chondrites carry the building blocks of life from outer space to Earth?
The key there is understanding how organic compounds started to synthesize to form more complex compounds. And so we believe that some of the organic materials that may have been the precursors of life may actually have been delivered to the Earth in meteorites.
Sonny found this rarity at another undisclosed site in Nevada. It's one of only 14 of this type ever found, and just the second to be discovered outside of Antarctica.
There you go, Geoff.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
Like most other meteorites, carbonaceous chondrites come from the asteroid belt and are more than 4.5 billion years old. But they're unusual because they don't contain iron and thus don't pass the magnet test.
It defies everything you look for in a meteorite. Usually, put a magnet to them to see if they're magnetic, and with this, it was nothing. I've had it appraised, and they were saying between $600 to $1,000 wholesale
Per gram.
per gram,
Total grams?
699 grams.
This single meteorite is worth at least $700,000.
One of the rarest finds in history right here.
Oh, it's one of the rarest in the world.
What a find.
No kidding.
Find of a lifetime.
You bet.
Hungry to find their own meteorites, the guys get started at location number 1, not far from where Sonny has found stone meteorites in the past.
The original find was made right over here about 50 feet.
Oh, wow.
The smaller piece.
This is the perfect place to spot space rocks.
The dry lake bed presents a tabletop for meteorites to fall on.
But an hour into the hunt, no luck.
Right color, no stick.
Out in the sun, spotting space rocks is not as easy as the guys thought.
It's kind of tough. There's multiple colored rocks out here, all about the same size. And I'm trying to look for the brown, orange, burnt rust color. It's one of those things you gotta spot, just the one right one out of maybe 50 or 100 wrongs all around. It's a little challenge, it's worth it. Sonny goes without even running with a magnet stick. He just can spot them.
What I'm looking for is that out-of-place rock that may be fractured. You're looking for the unique shape. You're looking for that rusty color rock.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Sonny,
Yeah.
do some of these rocks stick that are not meteorites?
Yes.
Just doesn't have the look, but it sticks.
You know, I think you've got nothing.
All right.
Sorry, I thought that was a good one, but...
I know there's got to be something in here.
They cover an area the size of 2 city blocks.
Nope. Nope. Darn it.
You almost have to be right on top of them to see them.
Nope.
And we thought the sunshine was going to make this a nice, easy hunting day.
Then, Steve breaks the dry spell.
Oh, got one! This meteorite will stick to a magnet, but not super strong, so you have to be careful or it can fly off the magnet. Right color, sticks. Financial value on this could be worth 10 bucks, 20 bucks.
Find number 1 is a tiny fragment, but that's enough to get Geoff's competitive juices flowing.
Steve found the first one, and I go, damn, he's already got one. I better go get one quick.
Geoff strains to spot his first.
I don't see anything around here. There's one, right there. Woo! Steve! Notice how the color is a reddish black compared to the ground. It's just slightly different in color from the other terrestrial stones around it. But it's a tiny difference in the sun. It's so difficult to see. Sweet.
Geoff's first find is quickly followed by another.
I can see one right there.
And another.
We just kept finding them.
Yay!
Each small piece worth $10 or $20.
I was quite stunned by the whole thing, really.
Whatever the meteorite fragments lack in size, they make up for in numbers. The guys have never seen anything like it.
Got a twofer. One swipe, 2 meteorites.
Oh, here's one.
It was literally a cosmic Easter egg hunt. There were just hundreds.
Oh, here's one.
Sonny's not shocked by the success. Over the last few years, he's done quite well in this area.
He's probably sitting on $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 worth of rock.
I was tempted to say it was like shooting fish in a barrel, but I just hate to use a cliche, so I won't say that.
But I will. It was like shooting fish in a barrel. Cha-ching! Yep. Cha-ching!
There's a nice little cluster. These 7 or 8 pieces were within about 10 feet. That's pretty cool. There have been so many times in my life where we go on a big expedition and we hunt for a week and we find one meteorite and go, look, we found a real meteorite. And I had a pocket full after about an hour. So that's not too bad. That's about an hour's work. Now that we're doing a little better after a very slow start, a very discouraging start. It's pretty much as close to meteorite heaven as you can get. It's absolutely great.
But every find comes wrapped in mystery. How can so many meteorites survive in such a severe environment?
Sweet.
Arid environments in general, which can be any kind of desert environment, a hot desert like the Sahara, or a cold desert like Antarctica, or places like dry lake beds. Arid environments in general are very good for finding meteorites because they preserve the meteorites. If you minimize the amount of moisture that interacts with these rocks, you can actually preserve their original composition better. And so dry environments in general are very much better for meteorites.
Yay.
One mystery is solved, but another remains.
Okay, here's a good one. There's a bit of a mystery about this meteorite. and we hope that our work out here on the lake bed might help us solve that. We don't know if the distribution of fragments on the lake bed was caused when the meteorite broke up in the atmosphere and scattered pieces across the lake bed, or if it was one or two large pieces that crashed into the lake bed and terrestrial effects caused those larger masses to then break up into many pieces.
To answer that question scientifically, Geoff would normally mark all the finds and map out a strewn field.
The definition of a strewn field is a zone where numerous pieces from the same meteorite are recovered.
A meteorite breaks up in the atmosphere, inertia will carry the big pieces further. So the strewn field will have small pieces at one end and bigger pieces at the other, in general.
I would estimate there'd be a 200 to 300 pound mass still buried out here. But the true trick is locating it.
I really miss the rockhound.
Oh, yeah.
It can almost go without steering, so we could just set it and Geoff could look off one side, I could look off the other.
This would be absolutely the perfect place to use it. It travels at 15 miles an hour, which is just a really good pace. It has excellent visibility. You can stop it anywhere, jump in, get back out easily. It would be perfect. But this is Bureau of Land Management jurisdiction, and it's a very fragile environment.
They have rules and regulations. Vehicles are one of the things that have to stay off of here.
Yeah, we want to find meteorites, but we don't want to destroy the environment while doing it. So we're doing it the old-fashioned way and hoofing it.
It's late in the day. The guys have to fight the sun to spot the meteorite fragments.
This sun is killer. Shadows are getting longer.
The last minutes of hunting are getting more and more difficult.
It's so hard to explain the subtle distinctions that these rocks have. It's kind of like explaining what apple pie tastes like. You just got to experience it yourself. I think my pupils are so constricted that it's hard to see. I don't know if sunglasses would be better or not. Too late, my sunglasses are too far away.
The sun is so strong on the whitish surface of the playa that you just can't see a damn thing. I think that the point here is there's only one angle at which you can see them. You've got to have the sun to your back, and you've got to catch them just the right way. And then there's that tiny hint of orange that's different from the Earth rocks. But it's so subtle, I'm just creeping along. Well, there's a little guy.
But something very unusual is happening with the meteorites the guys are finding on the lake bed.
It's an odd strewn field. The meteorites are almost certainly not where they landed.
The guys suspect the meteorites are actually moving. Why? Because Sonny keeps finding more meteorites in areas he's already hunted.
Here's another piece right here. Hey, Geoff, here's a little piece.
How could the meteorites move? A bizarre clue may be carved in the desert floor 300 miles away. Evidence of larger rocks moving can be seen in Death Valley National Park. There, large rocks leave long trails cut in the sediment behind them.
There are certainly documented cases of terrestrial rocks traveling across lake beds. They've taken photographs of the trails. We know it happens.
Studies suggest how the rocks move, but no one has ever actually seen the rocks in motion.
There are processes in action on the lake bed that appear to move the stones around. Perhaps ice moving or by wind blowing them.
Geoff and Steve suspect the same thing is happening on the lake bed. Because rocks are moving, the guys can't create a strewn field map that could lead them to the big meteorites. But Sonny thinks they can find them anyway.
I found hundreds of fragments within this half-mile square in here. But the larger pieces were running right through here like a snake.
Huh. You think there are any larger ones left?
I'm sure there's going to be a large mass. Some of the pieces I found had thumbprints in them, Geoff, where I could actually put a golf ball, half a golf ball in it. So from your experience, what do you think that tells us?
That tells us that it was a very large mass because the bigger the thumbprints, the bigger the size of the original meteorite.
As the first day of the expedition comes to an end, the guys' total haul is more than 3 pounds of meteorites, worth about $1,100. The guys like finding lots of little rocks, but they would love to locate the big one. The hunt wraps up, and the guys make the drive back to their motel base camp 2 hours away. Day 2 of the expedition starts with the unexpected.
Wakey, wakey. I have something to show you.
This could be a problem. Oh, my side's done.
The weather could be a real problem, but the guys are determined to hunt meteorites.
You're in 2-wheel drive.
Yes.
Might want to switch to 4-wheel drive.
The strategy today is to make their way along a trail where only ATVs are allowed, to location number 2, a different part of the lake bed where they suspect the main mass of the meteorite fell. There's less snow here, but the wind is picking up.
When we got out to the lake bed to start hunting, it was way below freezing. And that was without the wind chill. Ow! Putting my head in this helmet is like squeezing a melon into a matchbox. Okay, guys, I'm ready when you are. We drove from town to the dirt road, and then we took the ATVs from the dirt road down to the very edge of the lake bed. Then we had to leave all the ATVs, and then we had to hike in several miles in the cold. So we are putting ourselves out there for this one. Okay, enough talking, let's hunt meteorites.
Within the first 15 minutes,
Hey!
Steve gets a hit.
Hey! Oh! Cool! Check it out, it's got crust on it, I think. It's rusty looking, and it's a meteorite. Just what Sonny said we should be looking for.
Oh, yeah. Nice. There's a decent sized piece. That's the largest piece that I've seen so far today. And look, there are 3 more pieces right next to it. So this piece was here, and then look, that's one, and that's one, and that's one. Meteorites completely untouched by human hands.
Here's one right here. This is a piece of a large chondrite that broke up many years ago. It's hard to estimate the date on this. This could be 500 to 1,000 to 3,000 to 6,000 years old. It's just depending on the weather.
Yeah, baby. Oh, it's a lot thinner than I thought it would be. It looked real big, just sitting there. There's not much thickness to it. Still a nice piece.
Holy cow, they're just all over the place. It's totally amazing. So I've only been out here for about 10 minutes. I already found all these. I expect Steve and Sonny have probably been doing quite well also.
I've been hunting for 17 years. I've never run across a situation like this. I may never run across it again.
Just a fragment, but it came from way up there on the other side of Mars. How cool is that?
And it likes my magnet. You could almost be on Mars. It's so barren out there, and we're all bundled up, and it's really windy, and there's one, and there's one, and there's one.
In just a few hours, they've scooped up 2 more pounds, worth at least another $500. The guys are euphoric.
Got one!
But cold. Harsh wind from a gathering storm takes a toll.
It's extremely cold. On the thermometer, I think it's about 20 degrees, but we've got a massive wind chill, so it's probably, it feels like 8 or 10 degrees Fahrenheit, I would say.
This is just brutal. I can feel it coming through my gloves. It's gotta be like 5 degrees with the wind chill.
Boy, am I glad I packed my heavier coat, because it's cruel.
The mountains around the lake bed form a wind tunnel, and gusts soon top 35 miles per hour. There's no place to hide.
We got to witness the wind on the lake bed effect firsthand. And after being out there for a few hours and being buffeted, I could completely imagine how that wind could move meteorites around the surface. The wind was brutal. It was so cold, I actually was just a little worried to be out there, because if someone got in trouble, we'd have to carry them back. There's no help anywhere near.
There's a threat of bad weather coming in, so we're under a time limit here. It's a ways out, and this isn't one of these expeditions where we can camp in a tent. We'd freeze.
Here at location number 2, the wind is up, the temperature is down, and conditions are rapidly deteriorating.
No, that's not looking too good. Huge cloud front just rolling in, straight down over the mountains. It's just getting a little too cold to stay out here, and it's getting pretty close to sunset. So we're gonna head back to camp tonight, go over the maps, figure out our strategy.
After a day 2 total of 80 meteorites, valued at about $500, the guys are forced to shut down the hunt.
Well, at least we found some. But man, that was cold.
The guys think there's a big rock that's related to the small fragments they've been finding. They're eager to look for it out in the middle of the lake bed, but the weather has to cooperate.
Supposed to warm up tomorrow. Let's give it another try.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Day 3. The storm passes, the sun returns, and the hunt is on.
This is what I was worried about. I mean, if this happened out there on the lake bed, we'd be cooked. Actually, we'd be frozen, not cooked.
If it's not one thing, it's another.
Valuable hunting time has to be spent on repairs.
Y'all are good to go. All right, we're gonna have to drive at 110 miles an hour to make up for that lost time.
Oh, well.
The guys still have another 2-hour drive before meeting up with Sonny to get the meteorite hunting show back on the road.
Now, this would have been a pretty good-sized lake.
Been enormous.
Can you imagine living out here 5,000 years ago, tooling around on your motorboat?
Yeah, I don't think they had motorboats then, Steve.
No. I think I remember seeing an episode of the Flintstones when they were on a boat.
I hate to burst your bubble, but the Flintstones was actually a made-up story.
Really?
I mean, it was based on a true story, but...
Oh. Okay. Hey. It's nice of Sonny to wait for us.
Not another one.
Yet another flat, more repairs, and more valuable meteorite hunting time lost.
We were lucky we discovered the flat before we headed out of town.
You need to train your dog how to operate a lug wrench.
Can we go hunt meteorites now, please?
Okay.
We're rolling.
Location number 3 is at the center of the lake bed, where they think there's a big meteorite. The 3 split up to cover more ground.
Oh, there's a nice one. Pretty. Oh, I like that. It's a cool shape.
There we go. All right, let me find a bag for it.
The guys are at odds on the possible age of the fall that left these mysterious lake bed pieces.
I would guess that this meteorite is probably a couple thousand years old.
But Geoff thinks the fall is much younger.
I would estimate this dry lake bed meteorite's been on the ground for 200 or 300, maybe 400 years. It shows some weathering, but if those meteorites had been on the ground for thousands of years, I think they would have almost completely decomposed by now.
Only a closer look in a lab can make the final determination.
Ah, cha-ching. This one's got a little bit of remnant fusion crust on this edge up here. It's smooth and a little rounded, but down here it's a little more rough. So that's probably a little piece of the outside.
Geoff finds something puzzling about the appearance of these meteorites.
Typically, when we're out in desert environments looking for meteorites, we're looking for black rocks, and they're black because of the fusion crust. That is a thin rind they acquire when they hurtle through the atmosphere, burning at tremendous temperature. Something about the fragments out here is a little different. Whatever it is has caused the meteorite fragments to oxidize in an unusual way, and they have a kind of reddish, almost brick color to them, not the black that we expect. Oh, there's a nice one. That's got a really cool shape. Oh, it's a heart-shaped one. Well, kind of.
Steve, Geoff, and Sonny spend hours hunting for the main mass, a piece that could be as big as a basketball.
And one right there.
There's nothing like putting your magnet stick down and coming up with 2 meteorites on the end of it.
2 for 1.
The small meteorites are plentiful, and despite no really big finds, the hunters are downright giddy.
Oh, wow, there's a whole bunch of them together.
Yeah,
oh,
look
here's
at
a
'em.
nice one.
Yeah, look at them.
Wow, that's pretty.
Pick it up. Yeah, look at
That's pretty. It's
Look at these here.
Oh, oh, I saw that one first. Oh, give me that one. Give me that one.
Look how big
You
this
just
one
got
is.
a big one.
I came
I
and
saw
called
that
it.
first.
No, I called you over to show you.
You are so mean. I want that one.
Want to hold
That
it?
should have been mine. No, I don't want to hold it. I want to give it to me. I saw it first. See how grateful we are? Sonny invites the Meteorite Men out to his secret spot, and then we start complaining.
On the way back to the trucks, the trio discovers something with some real size and weight.
Oh! Holy cow, guys.
Oh, wait. Let me take a photo before you pick it up.
Here, Bricks, fetch. Fetch.
Hey!
Get it, Bricks, get it. Let's go.
So much for who's going to pick it up first.
That's
It was
mine.
the dog.
Go get it, Bricks.
Hey!
Come on, Bricks, let's go.
Okay, now I've seen everything. I quit. It was one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. You guys are nuts. And Steve and Sonny were laughing. They thought it was funny. I was just horrified. I wanted to document this important find, but the dog got away with it. Your dog is a menace. Look at that. Oh, jeez, no, stop. Get away from it. Give me that. You're fired.
He wants it. Look
Yeah,
at him.
slobbered
Look
all
at
over
him.
it.
It's not the main mass, but by far the biggest meteorite find of the expedition. 2 pounds. At auction, this piece might draw $3,000.
Way to go, good find, Geoff.
Well, thanks, but it really was a joint effort, this one. We really did walk up on it, all 3 of us, at the same time.
Very nice piece.
Before they leave the lake bed, the guys compare their finds. Nearly 500 pieces worth about $8,000.
We've expanded the fall area quite a distance.
The guys theorized that a meteorite hit the lake bed in 1 or 2 pieces. Then, the fragments that they found broke off over time. If they're right, the big pieces are still out here somewhere. 2 questions remain. How old is the fall? And what's the story behind the odd coating on the meteorites?
You're like the best safari leader of
Cheers.
all.
Steve and Geoff hit the road for the lab and answers. A ways into the drive, they take a detour for something a meteorite hunter just can't pass up. The site of a major meteorite impact that millions of years ago changed the face of the planet.
Geoff, why don't we get some gas? You never know, there might not be any more stations out.
Oh, no, you're going to be the sensible one for a change.
It's cold.
Don't worry, Steve, I'll get the gas. You just stay in the truck and keep warm.
Steve and Geoff found an estimated $8,000 worth of meteorites on the dry lake bed in Nevada. Now they have to get them to the lab to determine their scientific value.
There is a fantastic site I would like to show you. A site called the Alamo Breccia. It's a field of impactites, earth rocks that have been shattered and melted by an ancient meteorite impact.
Ooh,
And
cool. I've always wanted to go to one of those.
It really is an amazing site.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Geoff takes a quick detour
It's really worth it. It's a spectacular view.
to show Steve evidence of a cataclysmic meteorite impact, a deadly blow from space that wiped out life for thousands of miles. This desolate spot is where 370 million years ago, an object perhaps miles in diameter crashed into Earth.
It would have made an atomic bomb look like a firework in comparison.
Good times.
You see this very thick gray layer right through the middle? That's the Alamo Breccia, remnant of an enormous meteorite crater.
The breccia is rock composed of fragments of other rocks, minerals, and fossils, all smashed together by celestial impact. The only part of the detour Geoff didn't mention to Steve is the climb up the mountainside to get to the breccia exposure.
And that big outcrop up there is where it's best exposed. Steve, this is the super fun part where you get to do some real rock climbing.
This expanse of breccia covers hundreds of square miles of the most remote part of Nevada.
Isn't this fun?
Yeah. Lots.
I knew you'd enjoy it.
Over the next hill is another, more infamous landmark.
Oh my goodness.
That is the rumored location of Area 51, just over that hill.
Ooh.
I have it on very good authority that if you drive down that road and keep going, you will eventually be stopped by men with guns who will tell you to go away or they will shoot you. Whew. How's that for a climb? This is it. We're standing on the Alamo Breccia. This is the footprint of a gigantic meteorite impact. There are no meteorites left here, but look what they've left behind, this beautiful multicolored rock. And all these different colored elements in here, white, black, gray, are fragments of different rock layers that were broken up by the meteorite impact and then fell back down, were further mixed and distributed by tidal waves that followed the event because the meteorite plunged into water, went right through the water and into coral reef.
Man, what if there was another asteroid out there?
If a meteorite impact on this scale was to happen today, probably millions of people would die.
Scientists know these cataclysmic events happened with greater frequency millions of years ago, and they can happen again.
Meteorite impacts on the Earth's surface are a fact of our existence. There has been a huge decline in the number of impacts that have been happening on our planet, but they're still happening. And in fact, the probability of an object the size that killed the dinosaurs, that happening again is something like once every 100 million years. And so that will happen again. An event like that will happen again.
Here's some cool ones, too.
Steve and Geoff are always on the hunt, this time for the perfect breccia specimen.
Oh, that's really nice.
And there's money in these rocks.
Is that nuts?
Yep.
The guys collect samples and head back to the truck.
I just brought a small one.
Geoff will be the one paying for overweight baggage.
You need some help with that, Geoff?
In its raw state, Geoff's 30-pound piece of breccia looks pretty much like any other rock from the mountain.
Don't strain yourself or anything.
But a trip to one of Geoff's favorite stone cutters can change all that.
So, this is called a breccia. They're not as valuable commercially as meteorites, but there are people all over the world that are very interested in these impact breccias. I would say a big slab that big with a polished face might be worth $500,000 for each half.
500,000?
500 to 1,000 for each piece.
Before the rock will be worth that much, it has to be sawed in half without reducing it to gravel.
I just noticed there's a big fracture on that face that I didn't actually see before, so I hope the whole thing doesn't fall apart.
He's nervous.
Yeah, that's it. Nice. Wow, that looks amazing.
Look at that.
Oh, wow, this is gorgeous. These white elements are fossils, all the bright white ones. And the meteorite hit it was actually a shallow sea and hit a coral reef, and that's why they're fossils mixed in with the other stones. I'm kind of glad it didn't break on that fracture. That's what I was afraid of. Fantastic.
Let's polish it up.
Once the breccia is polished, the mix of rock, coral, and fossils is clearly visible.
Oh, this is fantastic. What a gorgeous piece.
How much is this worth now?
I'm gonna keep it, but if it was to be offered on the market, maybe $1,000.
Wow.
At least 500 to 1,000.
Wow.
A little gloss, and it's showroom ready.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's really stunning.
Wow. Okay, now it's worth $1,500.
We got places to be.
Okay.
Thanks again. We really appreciate it. You're the best.
Thanks
See
a
you
lot.
next time.
Steve and Geoff still have to solve the mystery of their dry lakebed finds. They head to the Arizona State University Center for Meteorite Studies.
Where were you this time?
You have no idea where we went and what we did to get these.
They're carrying hundreds of space rocks and two big questions. How old are they? And how did the big meteorite break up?
Those all meteorites?
Well, not exactly.
It's a spectacular haul. Roughly 10 pounds of Nevada dry lakebed meteorites,
So this is all one find.
So we assume it's just one meteorite.
topped off by 30 pounds of cut and polished breccia.
You wouldn't happen to have a section, would you?
Actually, we do.
I thought you might.
I'm so glad
Well,
you asked.
let's have a look at it then.
By examining a thin cross-section of the breccia in a microscope, Dr. Lawrence Garvey points out the signature of a celestial impact,
Whoa.
shocked quartz.
And you can just make out some linear features in here which are indicative of shocked quartz.
Shocked quartz has a microscopic structure that has been deformed under intense pressure, like that of a nuclear explosion. In fact, shocked quartz was not recognized until after atomic bomb testing in the late 1940s. The presence of shocked quartz proves that this breccia was formed by an enormous impact. Dr. Garvey turns his attention to the incredible pile of meteorites.
This is quite amazing. I mean, to get a new meteorite find, well, about 1,000 pieces, that's quite spectacular. You know, usually one brings in like one weathered ordinary chondrite, somebody gets excited by it. But here you got what, 500 pieces at least?
These meteorites are common chondrites, the most plentiful of meteorites. But the sheer number of pieces make it a valuable find. A slide from one of the small pieces reveals some clues.
I noticed that the outside of the meteorite has this thick weathering rind. It almost looks like desert varnish. That's really quite odd.
Desert varnish is a coating that accumulates on rocks over time as they bake in the intense desert sun.
So let's actually have a look at a picture. I've actually got to get a photograph of this.
The photograph reveals a stunning microscopic image.
See, I don't know.
Look at that.
looks like a photograph from the Hubble Space Telescope. That is really
So this is what I mean. This is your meteorite here. I've overexposed it because this is actually fairly opaque. So we're talking a significant amount of time, tens of thousands of years at least, to form that thickness of varnish.
The thickness of the desert varnish allows Dr. Garvey to speculate how long the meteorites have been sitting on the dry lake bed.
I was amazed when I saw this. This thing's been around a reasonable time, on the order of hundreds of thousands, a good 100,000 years.
Really that long? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
The meteorite is older than anyone had guessed.
Gorgeous photo. Yeah, it's really striking.
So the interesting question is, did this break up in the atmosphere and come down like this, or did this fall on the ground as one stone and break apart?
To figure out how the meteorite may have broken up, Dr. Garvey examines fractures in the small pieces.
So this thing has been quite extensively weathered. It has experienced some significant wetting and drying cycles over the years.
An estimated 100,000 years of weather on the lake bed did some real damage.
But this one's quite interesting. If you look at this, you see that one's got a fracture in it. So one more freeze-thaw cycle, and this one could actually fracture right there.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice that.
So it could just be that the rock was already fractured, and the water has been penetrated those fractures, and the freezing action has caused them basically to break apart. Look at that, it's all ready to go.
So by studying this one fragment, we can kind of see the process in action.
It's indicating that it's breakup on Earth after the fall.
Dr. Garvey confirms what the meteorite hunters suspected. A meteorite most likely hit the lake bed in one or two pieces. Over thousands of years, larger pieces weathered and broke off into fragments, only to be scattered across the dry lake bed over time. The main mass, or biggest surviving piece, could still be out there.
When we have the opportunity to meet and talk with Dr. Garvey, we really learn a lot. We're meteorite hunters, we get out and find rocks. We have an extensive knowledge of meteorites, but we're not specialists in every field. And we learned a lot about the history and the age of this meteorite.
We found out that the rind on it wasn't a fusion crust rind, but it was desert varnish that had built up over the millennia. We're talking in the tens of thousands of years we found out that these things have been out there. So it survived the last ice age at least, and they were still in condition for us to find them, be able to bring them in.
So Steve, Grand Valley, new Nevada find?
You know, I'd say they're probably $1 a gram pretty easy, maybe even $1.50. So, you know, if we got 4 or 5 kilos here, that's
Not too bad.
$4,000 or $5,000.
Easy.
Add to that their big find, the 2-pound meteorite. It alone is worth about $3,000. Grand total on the Nevada dry lake bed hunt, $8,000.
Good day's work.
Yeah, not too bad.
All in all, it was a great trip. It was successful. The meteorites that we found contributed in their own way a small bit of new information to the body of knowledge that exists in meteorite science today.
Here, let's look at this.